What up? What up? Wow, chat is already ripping. Good to see everyone. I'm assuming a lot of people watched that Trump speech last night. I actually thought it was one of his better ones. I thought it was pretty good. I thought it was a lot hammered on a lot of important points. Obviously, cryptocurrencies were never brought up, but I didn't think they really would be. No, but I thought it was really good. Good morning. Good morning. This is the XRP price chart, just kind of doing exactly what we thought was going to happen after that big pump, a little bit of sideways consolidation as we kind of recover from some of those more extreme movements. But everything looks good to me right now. All right, chat is actually popping off right now. Roger, good to see you. Halls Balls, Silver Days, good to see you. Rocky Mountain Jack, Crypto Clay, Roger, Douglas, Tiger. Good to see everyone. Dave Nelson. GM. What time is the summit Friday, please? I have to go refine that. And there might not actually be an announced time, although I'm so sure someone in the chat knows it. I got a list right here, though, who will be attending. Brad Garlinghouse, Kyle Samani, who is the multi-coin guy, Michael Saylor, David Bailey. Oh, interesting. The CEO of Exodus. Chainlink founder. Then potential people are Vlad, Brian Armstrong, Kathy Wood, Jeremy Allaire, Charles Hoskinson. Oh, Vitalik and potential. Okay, cool. So it looks like Brad is confirmed and some of these other people are potential. Very cool. Nice to see Brad confirmed and Vitalik still knocking on the door. Looks like Trump doesn't have that same old favoritism for Ethereum that his administration had in the years past. So looks like Vitalik's back on the outside of good old Ethereum, and we'll see how that plays out for him. But boy, I do love seeing Brad Garlinghouse right at the top of that list. That's a good place to see that. Industry representative Brad Garlinghouse. On to the next. Super cool to see that. Ryan, good to see you, man. Yeah, there's been a ton on those HBAR ETF approvals. A lot of good news for HBAR. It's interesting too what these ETFs are tending to be, because like it's just so happening to be the fact that all these ETFs coming out are just the cryptocurrencies that are so popular in the XRP community, right? Like this HBAR, like HBAR really cut a lot of cryptocurrencies before it for the ETF. It's interesting to me that HBAR ETFs are popping up and it's skipping a lot of these other things that are, in my opinion, not cryptocurrencies you'd really want to pay attention to as much as HBAR. So I do find it super interesting that HBAR is getting that ETF. I think it shows a lot of the institutions think pretty similar to us. So here we go. Here's Brad Garlinghouse right at the top of the list. Industry representatives, Brad. And here's the Tether CEO and Vitalik still trying to claw their way in. Just wanted to point that to your attention. Looking good. And Looks like Brad is still in the good graces of the Trump administration. Let's hope Chris Larson doesn't figure out a way to ruin that with any kind of Kamala talk. Obviously, just kidding there. It seems like the Trump administration has deep, deep plans for both Ripple and XRP. Letitia James, weird. Was she on the list? I didn't see that. Was she on the list, or are you talking about something else? Sorry, just trying to pull something up real quick. Oh, we just got jobs data? Whoa. Okay, so we missed this live, I think. Yeah, this happened a minute ago. It looks like this was the jobs data. It looks like jobs data slowed 58% month over month in February. ADP employment change, 77K versus 141K expected. Those are very negative employment numbers. Very, very negative employment numbers. This is going to be a funny argument people try to make, is like, and I don't really subscribe to this way of thinking. Oh, Tornado, thank you so much. I should be focused on a cyclone Cat 3 that's about to hit us on the East Coast in Australia in about 48 hours. But I'm focused on the cryptocurrency summit instead. Love you, Mickle. Really appreciate your dedication over the years. You're a beast. Oh, thank you so much, Tornado. And prayers to you. I hope everything ends up all right there. Not too much damage. You and your family stay safe. Prayers to all of you guys. And thank you so much for supporting. Really, really appreciate that. Very, very kind gesture from you. And yeah, let's hope we get some big news at this cryptocurrency summit. So all of that focus pays off. I really hope we get some kind of capital gains tax news. Would be kind of something that I would think would be game changing for XRP. If we got an announcement that they're looking to not do capital gains taxes on XRP, in my opinion, they would only be doing that for one key reason, and that's because they want to do something with XRP more than just investment purposes. They see a bigger picture for XRP, and they believe the actual movement of XRP will be important, and having capital gains taxes on XRP would slow down the ability to actually reach that full long-term potential for what the asset can be. So if we get an indication of no capital gains taxes, I think it probably just means there's a lot more going on here that meets the eye. Trump may use XRP to pay off all the debt. Rumor? Yeah, no, that's definitely a rumor. You wouldn't want to use XRP to pay off the debt, because then you're just paying XRP out to these other nations. Like, you might as well just use USD. You don't even really want to pay off the debt, and we can get into that. But the way government issues money is through debt. So if you pay off all the debt, you're essentially just taking all the money out of the system. We live in a debt-backed economy. To get money, you issue debt. So it's important to realize that paying off all the debt would essentially mean that there's just no money in the system. Oh yeah, no tax on overtime is really cool. I like that idea a lot. I like no tax on overtime a lot more than no tax on tips. I don't love the no tax on tips, but I think it's still something that obviously makes sense politically. Ed, good to see you, man. The reason why I don't love no tax on tips is I just think there's probably should be some kind of threshold on how much you're making versus when that kicks into effect. Because I mean, if you work at like a New York steakhouse and you're making like $400,000 a year as a waiter, you're not getting taxed on tips. Well, I mean, like that's kind of ridiculous, right? Like you're making $400,000 a year, you're not getting taxed on it. And it's not like you're like having your money taken from you because you're that. It's like, why don't you just do no taxes? Like you don't get taxed on your 400K because it's tips, but then you have someone else making $50,000 a year. I don't know, like working a car wash, they don't get tips, and then they have to get taxed. I don't love that. To me, it just seems like, you know, if there's no tax on tips under making $60,000 a year, I think that would be a bit more fair. But we've also not seen the actual policy, right? For all we know, that can be the policy. No taxes at all, Mickle. That's Crypto Clay. The second there's no taxes, man, I'll be a one happy man. Yeah, I don't know. This is one of those years where I'm going to be looking to push that tax deadline, really push up against the tax deadline here. Make sure there's no interesting changes prior to filing. Yeah, no tax period would be the best thing. I don't like. Here's the thing, though. Like, I think a lot more people here would be okay with taxes if we thought our tax dollars were being used efficiently, right? So like if we had like really, really good infrastructure and our roads were like beautiful and like we had all these new programs making it so I could jump on a train and go to LA and be there super fast. And like we had all these really cool like defense things to make us feel safer. And we had like these policies to go like clean up our beaches and clean up our water. Like I think all of these things, if we saw these things happening, we would be okay paying reasonable taxes, right? Like maybe taxes not on capital gains, maybe taxes not here or not there. But I really do think that if we actually were able to see what our tax dollars are actually doing and see improvement in the United States, I think a lot more people would be okay with paying taxes of some sort. I don't think we would need to be at the taxes we're currently at because we would be cutting out so much spending. But I think we would feel probably like, okay, well, like my dollars are going to good use. And I think that would at least make it easier for people to pay taxes. Well, Firedog, the real thing they need to do is like, zero taxes on capital gains for American cryptocurrencies. Yeah, that's a huge win. I also think you need to be able to write off all your losses against all your gains. Like it's such BS that you can only write off through paying to programs that are actually improving society. Paying to programs that are actually improving society. I personally don't have a problem. My problem isn't so much with taxes themselves, it's how the tax dollars are used. Like, would I love to live in America one day where there are no taxes? Yes. But would I be devastated if there was no income tax and it was just a sales tax and we just had a sales tax on everything we bought and made it more of a consumer-based tax? I'd be okay with that. Do I think it makes sense to still have some level of an income tax or be able to create a tax in a different way? Like, I'm not totally against that. I want the government to have money. I just want them to be using the money for things that actually matter rather than the corruption we've seen. No property tax for sure. Yeah, property tax is insane. Property tax is insane. I don't know how I feel about income tax. You know, a certain part of me does think income tax makes a little bit of sense. I think it's way, way, way too high. I think it can be significantly lowered. And I think ultimately the employer should be paying part of the income tax as well. Ed says I could live with a consumption tax. Yeah, I think a consumption tax is a good idea. I just worry it would slow down consumption, right? We don't want to put a tax on the US economy that makes people essentially slow down economic activity. So it's a big balancing act. I think the bigger problem is the waste of the tax dollars. And then if we get rid of the waste, we'll probably realize that we don't need to be pulling in nearly as much taxes as we thought. Yeah, it's funny. There was a big discussion about there's been big discussions on X about tariffs. And like my opinion is like if we're getting tariffed as America, we need to be able to tariff other countries. Like I don't think that's too much of a crazy position to take. If we're getting tariffed as the United States to deal with other countries, like we should tariff them back. Um it's a negotiating chip. Like a lot of people are thinking like Trump is just blindly adding tariffs to be a bully, but it's really because he's trying to change the balance of trade between the United States and other countries. And in my opinion, it's just a tool. If you actually think that this is all like just Trump trying to rake these other countries, I would say you're not really paying attention to the bigger picture. It's not really how Trump operates. Yeah, a lot of people complaining about tariffs don't even really know what they're talking about. I mean, everyone's talking about inflation, 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 but like people are like saying, "Oh, these tariffs are going to lead to inflation and we're going to instantly have all this inflation." But guys, take a look at the true inflation index right now. It's plummeting. Take a look at this. This is like the data for what we're seeing in inflation real time. It's plummeting. This is since the US tariffs have gone in. Like all these people are saying tariffs are going to make things more expensive. The market's already heating up. Inflation's falling off a cliff. These people talking about these tariffs are going to instantly lead to inflation don't know what they're talking about. They really don't. It's not like we're tariffing products made in the United States. And plus, the Canadian producers who are making these products, they're going to have to just sell their products cheaper to stay competitive. It's typically the company producing the goods that is going to eat the tariff, not the American citizen. Because if these Canadian corporations just up the price or have just a higher price ticket item in the United States, people just won't buy it. People will choose to just buy American products. And only like and we only consume like 1 to 2%. Like the amount of goods we buy, it's only like 1 to 2% of our GDP. So it's like such a small amount is even being used. Like if you just add up what's actually being used, it just never would actually hit inflation in any significant way. Canada, on the other side, it's like worth 30% of their GDP or something like that. So inflation, so that would they would be hit hard because we ship so many things to them, but we don't actually get that much stuff from Canada. So it's really important to realize that all these people talking about inflation, they're just not looking at the data. I actually gotta, I actually gotta tweet this chart right now. It's such a great chart. 1 minute. Yeah, I think inflation's gonna drop off a cliff. I really do. And it already is. We already see inflation dropping off a cliff. I mean, just take a look at this. I think we're gonna have problems with. I think the next thing people are gonna be talking about is deflation. It's gonna be the funniest thing, guys. It's gonna be the funniest thing. The second inflation goes 0.1% below 2%, everyone's gonna be like, "Oh, well, we have a deflation problem. No one saw this coming. Where did this deflation come from?" And let me show you what this is going to look like, because this is going to be the next talking point. I can already see it, and it's so comical. It's so comical. Hold on, let me pull this up. This is going to be the next big thing that everyone's talking about. Everyone is so scared of inflation right now. It's like inflation, inflation, inflation. But we're taking a look at the inflation chart. Inflation now looks like it's at, according to real-time data, somewhere like 1.8%, right? But take a look at this. This is where it gets even funnier. And I've showed this chart a lot on the channel, but it's so important to understand this because it's so crazy how these like mainstream talking heads think. Here's the inflation over the past 100 years. And as you can see, we are perfectly within this 100-year band of where inflation typically sits. Now, let me just draw this green line. This is where everyone thinks inflation should be. This green line. This is at about 2%. Now, what you can see is like the way inflation works is you don't just go to 2% inflation, right? Like you don't just sit at 2% inflation. You're like, oh, we did it. We're at 2% inflation. That's not how inflation works. It's constantly up and down in a range. Like all these people are trying to go to this 2% inflation number, but it's never sat at 2% inflation. Like these people that think we're going to go like this, we're going to come down here and just trade sideways right on this 2% inflation number. They don't have any idea how this works. And the second inflation goes and does this next leg down and comes below 2%, everyone's going to start freaking out and saying it's deflation. People are going to start saying, oh, we need more inflation. This is bad. But like when you're focusing on trying to achieve a steady rate on something that will never be steady, it's absolutely comical. So just understand this is nothing more than a talking point. Like there's nothing in this data that is remotely concerning, in my opinion. Like if we were outside of this 100-year band, if inflation was up at 6%, like, yeah, we've got a problem. If we had deflation down at 3%, like, yeah, this is bad. There's a problem. But we're right in the middle of this 100-year average, and I can't for the life of me see why people are so panicked. It's like, hey, this inflation news story has done really well, so let's just keep talking about it. I feel like there's no way Canada's our biggest trading partner. Doesn't it have to be China? Like, I feel like China's a bigger trading partner than Canada. You know, this is the inflation argument, though. I don't know. I don't think it holds any water. And I do think it's kind of ironic that all these people so concerned about inflation don't actually have any data to point to actually show any of that inflation happening. It's like, just show me some data where I should be concerned about inflation, and I'll go start panicking with everyone, right? We can all panic about inflation. But like until I start seeing that inflation, it just seems to me like people are panicking about something that the data isn't supporting. And like I always say, guys, I'm not saying that inflation isn't worse, and there's different places that humans see inflation that's significantly worse, and that certain products will no doubt go higher than the Federal Reserve data. But when we're actually looking at what the United States is going to make decisions on economically, that's what we're talking about. What am I drinking? Celsius. I normally go to I normally try to stay out of the energy drinks and go more towards like cold brew coffee or something like that. But the store I shop at is out of my favorite cold brew coffee, and I've like really spoiled myself on it. And now like I don't want any of the other ones they have. And like for me, it's like the Celsius is a better option than some of these other crappy iced coffees they have. So like I've just had to switch back. This is a funny one. How many black shirts do you own? I'll just do this for fun because I think it'll be funny. Hold on. We've got the full stack right here. This isn't even all of them. So a lot of black shirts. I don't know how many are in here, but it's a lot of black shirts. I just love. They're so great. They're so great. Like I just like, it's like my work shirt. It's like boom, throw this on. Don't ever have to worry about laundry. I go do my laundry. It's just 20 black shirts. This isn't how I dress when I'm like going out and like hanging out with people. I just don't like live in a black shirt. But it's great to have for just throwing something on that I think looks pretty good on the lives. How many gold chains do I have? Well, my girlfriend got me these for these two for my birthday. I have like one other one. None of them are like really like expensive gold chains. Most of them are like gold plated and stuff. I'm not someone who really spends a lot of money on clothes or jewelry or anything. Like I don't spend a lot of money on anything, to be completely honest with you. Not really my thing. The vast majority of all the money I have just goes into investments. Check the DXY. All right, absolutely. Yeah, we'll stop and interrogating my wardrobe here. Yeah, wow, the dollar falling off a cliff here. We haven't talked about this in a while. Okay, great call out, Roger. Haha, Taylor. That's funny. Here's the long-term trend of the United States dollar. As we can see, this is trending downward over the entire history of the United States. The dollar's slowly been weakening, and it's just one of those things that makes a lot of sense. I mean, the United States dollar used to be by far the most dominant currency. And yeah, as more countries industrialize, get larger, their currencies are going to be more important. So it doesn't mean that the United States dollar is going to go away, or if the United States dollar comes down to a weaker level, doesn't mean like it's anything bad for the United States. It just means in a lot of parts, other countries are becoming more important and more significant, which is great. Like all boats rise, in my opinion. The more other countries develop and create better economies, the better it is for the entire world GDP, which will help the United States GDP. But if we're to take a closer look at the dollar here, we can see that this thing is really starting to come down significantly. This is another thing people said tariffs would do. People said tariffs would make the United States dollar stronger. And here's the dollar essentially crashing. Yep, Trump definitely wants a weaker dollar. Buy XRP in black shirts. That works for me. Well, I'm pretty loaded up on the black shirts right now. I'm not typically running out. So yeah, no, the dollar's coming down very significantly. Really cool to see. We used to pay a lot of attention to the dollar because before we actually had Trump in office, the dollar was really important to watch because essentially we weren't getting any good policy updates. And the and cryptocurrency is heavily tied to directional movements in the dollar. So it was like, all right, well, this is going to be important for us to watch. Why do I think that is? Why do I think the dollar is coming down? That's a great question, Death Ranger. I need to think about that a bit more. The more macro level dollar weakness is definitely not a point that's a strong suit for me. But, you know, in my opinion, what we're seeing is a lot of like more value in being able to use other local currencies, other currencies being used more for trade. And I just need to think more about how tariffs and all these new policy updates impact the strength of the dollar. But there are so many things that factor into the dollar's strength. It's just really hard to pinpoint any exact reason why we're probably seeing this happen. Guys, quick shout out to the sponsor of the channel, XP Market. I'm going to come in here and collect some rewards right here. Get some free XPM token, deflationary cryptocurrency on the XRP Ledger. Keep moving in, take a look at what's happening in the XRP Ledger ecosystem. We can see that's actually a pretty good day for a lot of different XRP Ledger tokens. Really nice to see this list really filling out. Bitcoin on the XRP Ledger seems to be growing, actually, market cap of about 20 million. And it looks like RLUSD is now up to 21 million on the XRP Ledger, which is super cool to see as well. If we take a look at token trends, we can see we're seeing a big pump back up in the market cap of tokens on the XRP Ledger. After that recent sell-off, we had a pretty big dip, but it looks like there's a recovery going on there. And then what I really want to take a look at here is the automated market maker trends. If we take a look at the automated market maker rankings, we can see that the XPM XRP pool is the largest pool in the market right now. Huge shout out to them. That's great to see. RLUSD XRP is now sucked up close to 1.5 million XRP. Magnetic XRP is another 1.8 million. And XPM, the XRP, is now 2 million locked up in that pool, which is super, super cool to see. If we take a look at the AMM trends, we can take a look at how much TVL is in the AMM. Close to $50 million locked up in the automated market maker. This number is only going to continue to grow here. And we can actually get this charted on... Oh, it doesn't look like I can click that yet. But I should be able to zoom out and get a larger look at this. Yeah, you can just see how that TVL is just skyrocketing over time. Back in March of last year, we essentially went from a couple 100,000 to 50 million. I think we're only going to see this rising at an exponential rate. More and more XRP getting locked up. More and more XRP coming off the open market. It's really, really exciting to see all that XRP getting locked up. So huge shout out to XP Market for providing the data. Obviously, they have a DEX integration, swap feature, AMMs, meme coin pools, and a way to see your entire portfolio all in one place. Lots of really cool stuff here, as well as different ways for you to earn free tokens. Make sure to check out the Seasons Pass. It's a great way to go. Learn about the XRP Ledger, learn how to use some of these features, and collect some free tokens along the way. So shout out to XP Market, sponsor of the live stream. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Yes, Brad Garlinghouse will be at the Cryptocurrency Summit this Friday. I believe I saw a source this morning that I believe was an accurate source confirming that Brad Garlinghouse will in fact be there. So, did see that this morning. If I can pull that back up, I'll show you. It did look like someone who was a reliable source there, so I do tend to believe it. They had a very comprehensive list there and seemed to be in the know about what was happening there. But Brad Garlinghouse was confirmed according to that list, and he was actually the first person on the list. Apple released a new computer. All right, not that interesting. Its new M3 Ultra chip. Okay, not that interesting. Any other news here that we have to cover? Let's see. I'm trying to find a video of Trump's closing speech last night because I actually thought it was oh, here we go. I thought this was a great kind of closing speech. It was a lot less Trumpish than I think we normally see, and I did think it was pretty good. So I want to play this real quick.
Be our greatest era. With God's help over the next 4 years, we are going to, this will be our greatest era. With God's help over the next 4 years, we are going to lead this nation even higher, and we are going to forge the freest, most advanced, most dynamic, and most dominant civilization ever to exist on the face of this earth. We are going to create the highest quality of life, build the safest and wealthiest and healthiest and most vital communities anywhere in the world. We are going to conquer the vast frontiers of science, and we are going to lead humanity into space and plant the American flag on the planet Mars and even far beyond. And through it all, we are going to rediscover the unstoppable power of the American spirit. And we are going to renew unlimited promise of the American dream. Every single day, we will stand up and we will fight, fight, fight for the country our citizens believe in and for the country our people deserve. My fellow Americans, get ready for an incredible future, because the golden age of America has only just begun. It will be like nothing that has ever been seen before. Thank you, God bless you, and God bless America.
I thought overall is a pretty good one. Tornado at Bitcoin. No Bitcoin in Russia cryptocurrency reserve. Ash just posted on X. A few countries doing the same could be a trend. More Bitcoin maxi tiers all over the world. I didn't see this Russia strategic reserve. Let me take a look. I just saw this post by Ash Crypto. But all I'm seeing is people saying that it won't be included in their strategic reserve. I'm not seeing what will actually be in the strategic reserve. Just no Bitcoin. So we might need to wait for more news on this. Russia declares no intention to include Bitcoin in their strategic reserve. Okay, I'm curious what would be in it then. Are they even talking about a cryptocurrency reserve? Are they talking about something else? What would be included? Very interesting. I just need more detail on this before I can really assess it, but really appreciate you passing that on. Thank you so much for the donation. I also don't know if they're just saying that and then they're secretly accumulating Bitcoin in the background. Interesting stuff. But guys, I will say I do think profound tax policy is coming. And it has to do with this right here. It looks like the United States is looking to fire 90,000 IRS employees, which is half of the IRS. In my opinion, you don't do that unless you see big tax changes coming, which obviously is very exciting for all of us. Guys, with that said, I've got to jump. Thank you guys so much for coming. You guys